Okay, so the answer E was negative a half. Okay? All right.
What is
Very no. Okay, we'll see. Remember that we're having to add that part in that last bit. Remember the coordinates for W, the midpoint of TV, so that was just, thank you for stuff. That was just using the midpoint formula. You have the coordinates of T and C and finding the midpoint there. I think because they called it W, it's probably better to just say W. But I mean, I shouldn't be wrong. Then for D, they asked you what kind of triangle is triangle TUV. So I started out, and guys, for this question, I also checked at the back of the book, they just said that it was isosceles. They didn't mention anything about, was it acute angle or obtuse angle or right angle. In maths in general, if they say you need to classify a triangle, you have to classify it in terms of its sides and its angles, right? So maybe you guys did the isosceles part, right? So you find the three sides, the length of the three sides, and we notice that two of them are equal. So that means that we have an isosceles triangle. Okay. Then after that, guys, I don't know if you remember this from working with converse pi tag last year. If you're trying to use converse pi tag and they're not equal, right? Can you remember how do they classify as either obtuse or acute angle? If you take your hypotenuse, longest side, it's not hypotenuse, right? So we agree that this is not a right angle triangle because these two values are not equal, right? 80 and 62,5, so they're not right, or it's not right angle. So that means that it's either acute angle or obtuse angle. Now you could look at your picture and you can say, okay, it looks like it's obtuse angle, right? But you can't just go on that. You have to prove it somehow. So this is using converse pi tag to decide whether it's acute or obtuse. Just hang on quickly. What you do, guys, is you take your longest side squared. If that value is bigger than the sum of the other two sides squared, it's obtuse angled, right? So if your longest side squared, which is 80, is greater than the sum of the other two sides squared, bigger than, then it's obtuse. Okay, greater than, obtuse is greater than 90. Okay, that's how I always remember. If this value was smaller than the sum of the other two sides squared, then it would have been acute angle. Okay, so that is like a result of converse pi tag. Yeah. Yeah, so I said that already, but they just said what kind of triangle. So they didn't say just according to the sides or just according to the angles. So you would have to cover all your base. All right, so yes, it is isosceles, but it's actually also obtuse angle. Yeah, we find that one. Okay, now for number 3, 3A and B, and I didn't do my working here for 3C because I wanted to show you guys 3A and B, very easy. They just wanted the length of those sides. Guys, if they don't specify whether you can leave your answer in insert form or if you have to round to 2 decimals, you can choose, you can decide. I wrote both options there, it's fine either way, it doesn't matter. Are we fine with 3A and B? Then for 3C,
It's the metric zeros. Have they already written?
yes, well, they're okay for one. Okay, for 3C, guys, this is a question that you can do by inspection. So I'm sure that many of you did some work, right? Did you get to the answer 7, 8?
Yes.
So that's the point that you got. 7, 8. Now, guys, usually in a question like this, in an analytical geometry question, in grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, they give you the picture. Okay? It's not often that you have to actually draw the picture, but I did say yesterday, it's much easier if you have drawn the picture. Okay? It's much easier if you have drawn the picture. Now, guys, if this is a palm, right, the parallelogram, the first thing that you need to pay attention to is the order of the letters in the name of that parallelogram. Okay, if it says NMRS, that means that the vertices have to be connected in that order. Okay, so point N has to be connected to point M, right? N and then M. Does that make sense? Okay, and then what letter comes next? R. So point R has to be connected next. Then it's X. So now point X is going to have to be connected next. Right? We know what a palm should look like, right? Can we kind of guess where that's going to be? That's going to be, is it here, I think? There, right? We can just kind of eyeball it. Okay? Now I'm going to show you now how to actually do the calculation without relying on your picture, because like I said, the picture might not be given and also it might not be drawn to scale, but that looks like a parallelogram, okay? It's a very thin one, but it's fine. Both two sides, both ends opposite sides look like they're equal and they are parallel. But what is happening here? Let's look. From point M to point N, what happened to the actual coordinates? The x value of point M is 0. What is the x value of point N? -1. We notice that that is 1 less, right? Now, in order to have the same shape, the same length, and the same gradient here of this side and that side, we're going to have to do the same shift. So from here, from 0 to -1, I'm -1. That means that from this x value to that x value, I'm also going to have to -1. Does that make sense? So you just kind of mirror the shift that happens. Okay, let's look at what happened to the y values. This y value was 3. This y value is 0. What happened then? What did I subtract to go from 3 to 0? 3 minus what is 0? 3. And it's not a trick question. Some of you are fast asleep. So I'm going to do the same thing here. This y value minus 3 is going to give me the new y. And that is actually all you have to do. That will give you the coordinates of point X. So if you look at the movement, essentially from point M to point N, you replicate that shift from point R to point X. Okay, was there a different way which you could have done, a different shift that I could have looked at? Yes.
I calculated NR midpoint and then said midpoint for NX.
Yeah, so there were loads of different ways in which you could have done it. But guys, the bottom line is this question is going to come 2 marks. You're going to get a mark for 7 and a mark for 8. So don't do any working because you're going to waste time. All right, so I'm showing you the shortest possible way to do it by inspection. Even in matric finals, there's always a question like this, 2 marks. You get a mark for the x value, a mark for the y value. Let's look at this, guys. MR, that is also a side of this palm, right? So that length and that gradient has to be the same as this side, this length and this gradient. So what shift happened here from point M to point R? What did I do, or what happened from this x value to that x value? From 0 to 8, I added 8. What's going to happen if I'm going to do the same thing here? What's -1 plus 8? 7. Okay, let's look at the y values. From 3 to 11, what did I do? I also added 8. Is the same thing going to happen here? What is 0 plus 8? 8. All right? Yes. All right, so do this by inspection. Please write this down.
Then could you send this memo?
Yes, I will. Yeah, it's on after today. Do this by inspection. Do this by inspection. By
So will it always be 8 or will it just depend?
it depends on
What
you have.
so on the original, we take what you have for the original and then we use that for the bottom one.
Josh, we don't have a. Yeah.
So if it's not, wait, I need to show you.
No, opposite section. Do this, no. No. What am I saying? Do this by inspection by looking at opposite sides, right? That's what we're doing. We're looking at opposite sides. You can look at either pair of opposite sides. It doesn't matter. You get the same answer regardless of where you look at. So you are going to, okay, I'm going to write here. I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to say from M to R. I'm going to write down what happened from M to R. Okay, the x value, if we're looking at the x value of M was 0. The x value of R was 8. So we added 8 to the x value. All right, you guys understand what I'm saying there? That's what we changed because of the x value. We added 8. And then we did the same thing with the y value. Purely by coincidence, guys, it's not always going to be the same thing. I went from 3 to 11, that's plus 8. All right, so therefore, from N to S, you're going to have that same thing happening. You're going to add 8 to the x value and add 8 to the y value.
Will the -1 and the -3 always be the same? So then
It depends. All of these values depend on the points that you have. All right. So now from N to S, the x value of N was -1. So now I'm adding 8 to it. And what was the y value of N was 0. So I'm going to add 8 to that. So that will give me 7 and 8. But guys, you don't even have to write this. You can literally just write your answer, 7, 8. That's all we need. Okay, you'll get 2 marks for it. So that was one way. Or you could have looked at M to N, right? You could have looked at those sides or these two opposite sides from M to N. Okay, what's happening with those coordinates there? What happened from with the x value of M to the x value of N? From 0 to -1, I subtracted 1. It's going to be x minus 1. And for the y values, I'm going from 3 to 0. So I'm minusing 3. So then the same shift is going to happen from R to S. And that's going to allow us to get the coordinates of this. Okay, I'm going to give you another one to practice on your own, just see if you can get that method. But guys, if you've done a few of these, it really is so quick. It's going to take you like 30 seconds to do it. So please try and use this method instead of doing loads of calculations.
You think it'll be 1 hour?
Probably. I haven't seen the exam, but I mean, is it century? Okay, I'll leave it to that now. Yeah, then practice it. Okay, number D. Question D. Determine Z is the center of the parallelogram. Guys, remember the two diagonals bisect. So that point where they bisect is actually the center of the parallelogram. You know that. Okay? Right? The two diagonals bisect. The point where they bisect, the midpoint of both of them, is the center of the parallelogram. So that is what you have to do. You have to find either the midpoint of NR or MS. Okay, either one of them would have been the same thing. You could have written 3.5 at 5.5 if you wanted, or 3.5 at 5.5. I wrote here that I want you guys to do numbers 4 to 7, but I just want to check if there is a parallelogram question in that. No, there isn't. Okay, I'm just looking for one quickly. Okay, so if you take away then one of these, I'm going to change this. Sorry, guys. So I would like you actually first to do exercise 11.4, just to practice that parallelogram thing. Number 8A. Okay, that's one of those questions, just to practice that like counting method. And then just to end off the section, because it's the last lesson on this section today. Again, that extend your skills exercise numbers. Numbers 4, 5, and 7.
So it's a set of two.
Yes.
Okay, so just put the top on everything. Paper one.
Are you asking me, is everything